Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon. With ST20 and ST21 on the horizon, we have finally been able to take a look at our level 6s from the decks. We've previously had a look at many of the adventure trait cards in a previous video, even if we did jump the gun a bit. So make sure to go and check that out via the pinned comments below, along with our latest DU deck challenge video featuring Digidane. That one has nothing to do with the adventure trait, but it was a fun video, so go check it out. Anyways, on to our topic of discussion. ST20 WarGreymon Ace is a 7 play cost, dual colour Digimon with the red and black colours that digivolves off of a level 5 Digimon for a cost of 4, or off of a level 5 with the adventure or hero trait for a cost of 3. It of course can blast counter digivolve, as any ace can, and it has 2 different when digivolving effects that will trigger off. First one is an on play as well, which basically reads, until your opponent's turn ends, for every 2 colours your tamers have, their Digimon effects don't affect one of your Digimon. So the more tamers you have, the more kind of things you can protect with that effect. Or rather, the more colours those tamers have. It also has a when digivolving and when attacking effect. Delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon, and this is not a once per turn effect, which means if you digivolve in the same turn and then attack, you can delete 2 of their Digimon with the lowest DP. Meanwhile, MetalGarurumon Ace from ST21 is also a 7 play cost dual colour Digimon, this time with the purple and blue colours. It digivolves off of a level 5 purple or blue Digimon for a cost of 4, and also a level 5 with the adventure trait for a cost of 3. Notice that there is no hero trait on this one. The on-play and when digivolving effect is return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to the bottom of the deck, and for every 2 colours your tamers have, add 1 to this effect's level maximum. So if you have one of your dual colour tamers out, that means you're now suddenly bouncing a level 5 away. If you've got another tamer with 2 more colours, that's a level 6. So this can really stack, you know, the moment you've got your 6 colours out essentially, you can just bounce anything you want in the entire game. So it is a pretty darn good effect. The when attacking of this card, because it also has a when attacking which is once per turn, you may play 1 level 4 or lower Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. So this one is going to be playing out any level 4 or lower Digimon. It's much like the Lord Knightmon from BT19, and it can just play out anything irrespective of the trait or the colour, which is very interesting. Both of these cards definitely appear to have their uses both separately and in decks that combine their powers. Thing is though, are these really that good? It's time to find out if these cards are truly bait or busted. Hello, so the ST20 and ST21 level 6 aces, which we now know are aces of course, we didn't originally, are now out, so figured we would take a look at them today in today's episode of Bait or Busted. I was originally planning to bring out a live match for today, but I just ran out of time, so I'm doing this instead. I really enjoyed doing Bait or Busted last week, so I'd really appreciate if you guys could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content, whatever the content may be. We do quite a variety here. Anyways, WarGreymon and MetalGarurumon, the first 2 Digimon in the game to actually have 2 sets of aces. Of course, these guys got aces in previous structure decks, which is pretty interesting. And these, safe to say, are better than those. Time has been very friendly to these 2 cards, and they are certainly very interesting in terms of things we can apply them in. Now, we're going to look at some lists. We're going to look at 5 in total, because I figured we did 5 lists in the last video. There, funny enough, were more that I was thinking of with this, but I thought I'd narrow it down to the 5 that I think are probably going to be the most kind of well used, I guess, for these 2 cards, you know, among players in general. So I figured we'd take a look at them. We'll see how they go. So we're going to first start with the Adventure deck. So this is the deck which is the combination of the 2 structure decks as they're coming out, as well as a couple of little bits from BT21. Now, something I will premise with all of these lists is that some of them are updates for decks that I play and I know quite well, just with updates and stuff like that. Some of them, like this one, are decks I have not had time to print out proxies for, so this is all theory crafting. This is not a deck profile, we're just talking about the potential theoretical application of the 2 cards we are discussing. People don't at me for putting out a profile with no testing again, because this is not one of those times, okay? Don't do it. Anyways, Adventure. So this is the deck, one of the decks that can use both of them, and it's kind of, I guess, the most intended use of them, given the fact that both of them cost 4 on top of their respective colours, but 3 on top of their level 5 adventure traits. They can Digivolve on top of any adventure trait Digimon for a cost of 3. So what are the main uses of these guys in this? This is one of the decks that can utilise them the most because of all of the different colours of the tamers. We've got red, yellow, blue, green, black, green, purple, yellow, and white. So we've got access to all of the colours among these tamers. Some of them, yeah, do share tamers, like these two share colours, these two share colours, but because they all have the different colours between them, if you have all 4 of these out, you have got 6 different colours on board among your tamers, which means that with WarGreymon Ace, you can protect 3 of your Digimon with that protection effect, and with MetalGarurumon Ace, you can bounce a level 7 Digimon, because it bounces a level 4 at base, adds 1 for every 2 colours. So if you've got 6 colours among your tamers, that's 3, baby. That's level 7. So this could just bounce an Omnimon X if it wanted to, which is nuts. That's absolutely nuts. That it can do that. Yeah, you've got to get the setup for it, but this deck is so built around tamers that, you know, it's very easy to do that, and very, you know, very much encouraged to do that. You know, so these guys can really get going a lot, especially this MetalGarurumon Ace. Also, the MetalGarurumon Ace obviously can play out things, so you can play out all your level 4 or lowers. So using this, you could then play out the Agumon or the Gabumon, for example. Then both of those have the your turn effects. If you've got enough colours on the board, or a 10,000 DP Digimon is on the other side of the board, warp up into MetalGarurumon or WarGreymon or MetalGarurumon. So obviously that's a really, really great effect, that you can just play out one of these guys, because it's irrespective of colour, and then just warp again into another level 6. It's nuts. Or you could do it as like you could play out one of your other kind of dudes. You could play out your Tentomon or your Gomamon for a floodgate. You could play out this for draws, this for a search, this to digivolve into something. Did use this to then digivolve into your Angelwomon or something like that, which then allows you to digivolve something else on the board to go up into a level 6. You know, so there's so much utility with this MetalGarurumon Ace specifically in this deck. Like, it's really, really cool. It's a really cool card, especially in this kind of deck. But yeah, a lot of different kind of applications for it, you know, in this one. The WarGreymon Ace is nice as well. I will say, as a general preface, as much as WarGreymon is my guy, and I'm a Greymon stan till the day I die, he's a little bit underwhelming compared to MetalGarurumon Ace in this list specifically. I'd almost be tempted, dare I say, to put this at 4 and this at 2. I don't like doing that, but you know, you could very well do that. And you know, or, you know, to be fair, you could also increase the numbers of them if you decided to do less of a classic ratio thing, like I've put on here, and go for more like a level 5 Mega Zoo type thing with all of the adventure level 5s, which you absolutely can do in this deck. Then you know, you could increase the number of both of them as well. You could maybe put in Omnimon Ace in, I guess, but we'll get into that later. Anyways, yeah, that's the adventure deck. Obviously, this is kind of what I'm theory casting, and the kind of the little kind of applications of these two in that deck. Let's move on to our next deck, which is the hero deck. So sticking along the lines of kind of BT21 and things that are coming on the way soon, this is what I've kind of theory crafted for the hero deck. The hero deck is a deck which I've not seen a lot of people talking about. I think it could be quite fun, but it also is kind of a hot mess. You know, I think that's probably why a lot of people haven't touched it, because it just doesn't look like there's a lot of synergies going on. These are the cards that, at you know, in an afternoon, again, theory crafting, not a proper profile, that I could think of with synergies and stuff like that, to incorporate into this list. But we're more here to talk about WarGreymon and its application here. So WarGreymon Ace has an advantage in this because there are, you know, cards in this which do have multiple colours. You know, all of our tamers will have some sort of dual colour. The issue compared to WarGreymon's use in the adventure deck to this one is you've got less colours available, because all of the hero tamers share red as a colour. And as much as you would like to then also diversify the pool of colours here, because obviously we've got 2 purples, we've got yellow, red, white, you know, the other issue is that these 5 all do stuff for the hero trait stuff. The Davis and the Takato, and the Takato is purple anyway, because so many of these heroes are purple, but the Davis at the very least is blue, and that would be a fresh colour, only applies its effect to armor forms, so it doesn't apply to any of the hero stuff. It does obviously gain a memory at the start of turn, so you could maybe argue that that's a nice generic use, but its actual kind of main effect, its your turn effect, is just applicable to armor forms. So unless you want to just go hard on your armor forms in this, and you possibly could, then, you know, but saying that, then the armor form stuff also just inherently has nothing to do with the hero trait stuff. All of it is just armor form stuff, so you just wouldn't play it synergistically. So it just means that this WarGreymon Ace has less colours to work with. You know, overall, red, yellow, purple, white, then if you've got all of those colours out, then that does mean you're protecting 2 Digimon, which can be pretty handy, you know. So, you know, it's still got a place in this, and obviously being able to attack in and stuff like that, we can make him huge in the hero deck. You can also make him huge in the adventure deck because of stuff like Alliance and you know. But this one does have like a lot of, basically like almost every Digimon has like a 2000 DP inheritable somewhere. You know, so obviously we've got the Warping Ogumon again. We do have warps for the other guys, but obviously that doesn't apply to WarGreymon Ace. You know, so fairly interesting kind of application in here. Next, we're going to take a look at another list that uses both of them. And it is, of course, Omnimon. We could not talk about MetalGarurumon and WarGreymon without Omnimon in the equation. So I've plonked these guys in here. This is my usual ratios for Omnimon, just with, you know, stuff from the adventure stuff. Obviously this Ogumon's here. The Gabumon's not, because it doesn't work with Koromon. You know, there is no blue egg better than the Koromon. But these guys do have interesting applications in here. Again, it's more of a case of I think the MetalGarurumon Ace being useful in this as an actual ace target and as an on play, whereas WarGreymon Ace obviously can go up in here. The issue with this WarGreymon Ace is obviously because it gives a lingering effect, so until your opponent's turn ends, for every 2 colours your tamers have, their Digimon effects don't affect one of your Digimon. So you can only affect one of your Digimon with that effect. So the issue there is if you choose your WarGreymon Ace and then you DNA Digivolve into Omnimon, the effect disappears because WarGreymon no longer exists. So it just is a little bit clunky in Omnimon. Not to mention the massive disadvantage of DNA Digivolving involving aces to go into another ace. Because if this Omnimon Ace dies, then we're giving an overflow of a minimum of 9. If we, you know, in whatever hell situation we use both of these to DNA into the Omnimon Ace, that's an overflow of 13. It doesn't bear thinking. It would just be really dangerous. So I don't know for definite if these guys would be great in this. You know, so take the application of these two in this list, I think, with there would be very much a high risk, high reward kind of thing. And again, I think this MetalGarurumon Ace has more value than the WarGreymon, because, you know, like I said, the WarGreymon's effect is kind of wasted in this. Obviously, being able to delete stuff with this is not bad, but we could bounce stuff with this. It does the same job. This goes off as an on play as well, so if we were to hard play it, then you would go off. Obviously both of these could potentially warp with the BT17 ones, which then gives them a little bit more utility, but the fact is you just get more value out of this effect than you do out of this effect, because this effect will, you know, the targets might disappear, so you just might not have access to them. Obviously if you leave this for an ace for like Okubon or something like that, then a bit more useful, but you know, I think in general the MetalGarurumon Ace is more useful in this list, but both of them would be risky. Let's now head on to another list, this time with WarGreymon on its own again, and of course we could not do this video without looking at their tribal decks. So first we're going to look at the Greymon tribal deck. I was very tempted to look at Greymon Toolbox instead of WarGreymon kind of OTK, but I settled on looking at WarGreymon OTK just because it kind of felt like the more obvious to me in terms of ratios. And the issue with Greymon Toolbox is this Ogumon does not like being in Greymon Toolbox. Obviously it could digivolve into a WarGreymon, so you could just put it in there anyway, but the reboot is also wasted on stuff like the Black WarGreymon and stuff like that. But anyways, we're talking about WarGreymon Ace. Issue with WarGreymon Ace in this list is, again, this is very much a control card because of the deletion effect, because of the protection it grants you, stuff like that. So it doesn't feel very good for an aggressive deck like this WarGreymon one. It's why I was tempted to do a Greymon Toolbox one, because it feels like a better fit in that list as opposed to this one. This one does not stick around to try and have a defensive play. You know, we want to just go gung-ho, bam, 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 kill the checks, and go for it. you know. So it's just like, yeah, it's a real humdinger putting it into Greymon. Toolbox I think would be better, but also the issue there is you're not really investing enough to go into a separate stack, and WarGreymon Ace on top of your stack would be nice, but really you probably still want to be going into your black WarGreymons because he's such a big wall and can block twice, whereas this guy can't, you know. So as a one-off, could be interesting in this, but yeah, not too keen on it in WarGreymon. Maybe more in Greymon Toolbox, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. But of course, we can't look at Greymon's tribal list without looking at Garurumon's tribal list. So this one, I think, uses the ace a bit more, because I realised a really nice little combination with this. So bearing in mind, I'm not a Garurumon player. I've never played the deck. I've never built the deck. So me building this was kind of like real new ground for me. And it definitely, just as a glance, Garurumon players, I feel sorry for you guys. I'm sorry that your two main colours are purple and blue, because they just don't seem to go together very well, and obviously they banned a lot of the purple stuff, which also, by the way, is dumb, because this has the same inheritable effect pretty much as those purple Gabumons that are on the ban list. Like, this is exactly the same, but it also can warp into a MetalGarurumon. It's dumb, it's stupid. Unban them, please. Just make logical sense. But there is a cool combo I was thinking about with this list. So obviously we've got some unsuspend shenanigans, we've got some, you know, stuff like that. But we've also got, because obviously this guy is still limited, the promo one, which gives you security 10+1. We do now have access to the level 5 adventure WarGreymon. Now it is purple, which is kind of sad, but we've got multiple different ways of kind of searching it out with, you know, memory boost or mental training stuff. The Mac can search it, the Gabus can search it, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, it still works. But what is cool about him is obviously he gives Alliance as an inheritable. So you can go into your MetalGarurumon Ace, swing, play something out with that. Whilst you're doing your swing, unsuspend using the WarGreymon X. If this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon, it's then by trashing one card in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon. Unsuspend, do your check. Then, you know, you kind of have to obviously hope you live with either your battle protection or hopefully jamming from the Bukamon, which, oh, by the way, guys, this deck needs more jamming. I know it's got the battle protection thing, but it needs explicitly more jamming. Just give it a jamming Gabumon, Bandai, please. But you know, you live that, you've unsuspended, but now you've played out a level 4 or lower, so that means now you can swing again. And this time you can use Alliance from your inheritable from the WarGreymon to do 2 checks. So that's pretty cool, you know. Bearing in mind as well, you don't even have to attack it again with this. You could then Digivolve on top of it with your MetalGarurumon X, you know, or better yet, because this unsuspends actually, swing with this, do your two checks with Alliance, then go into this, unsuspend, gains blocker, and then hopefully if you've got another body on board, swing again with Alliance. You know, so I think that's pretty good. I mean, this MetalGarurumon Ace, like, I'll be honest, this is the last deck we're looking at today, because you know, just time and stuff like that. But honestly, the MetalGarurumon Ace is the thing that's impressing me more than the WarGreymon. I will stand till I die. I am a Greymon boy. You know, I will always be that guy. I love Greymon more than MetalGarurumon any day of the week. But in terms of utility, in terms of actual effectiveness, this is the better card out of the two. You know, and there were definitely other lists I was thinking about, like you could play like a blue version of Jumbo Gamemon and put this in, and a black version of that deck as well with WarGreymon in it. And there's loads of different applications for both of them. But the MetalGarurumon Ace, I think, is the one that I think will be the most used once it comes out. Like it's got a lot more utility. It's, you know, the more colours you can have in your deck, then the more it could bounce as well. The when attacking is nice. Yeah, I think this is going to have the more utility. Now, because they're sharing a video, I don't want to give them separate rankings of bait or busted, but I'm gonna kind of lean them both into the busted category. I think both of them are really good. If I was going to be more picky, I would say the WarGreymon is verging on being bait. I think it's just good enough to not be bait. But the MetalGarurumon Ace is definitely busted. I think it's really good. The fact that it's got these applications with it, it can give itself an alliance target with this WarGreymon inheritable. I just think it's a really good card. And the fact is both Garurumon and WarGreymon will obviously get more support as the game goes on. They're two of the most popular Digimon in the franchise, so they will get more support going forward. So that will just kind of prove to the effectiveness of these Digimon the longer we go into the game. But that's the video, guys. Do you guys agree with my verdict? Do you think these cards are busted? Do you think they're bait? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what other decks you guys would like to use these cards in, and also what other cards you would like us to discuss on bait or busted. But anyways, that's all from me. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again on the next video, which will be, of course, Monday next week. But until then, keep it digital.